Welcome back to Where Science Meets Nature, channel where we discuss the medicinal value of plants and other substances found in nature all around us, with a little bit of science thrown in because we can. Today I'd like to talk about this box. Now, from an herbalist perspective, this box is a medicine-making machine. This box will ultimately produce some of the most potent medicines known to man. And it's not going to be a video about what comes out of this box, but it's a video on how you can do this yourself for less than $100 if you really need to. I'm going to put links in the description below about all the products that you can find in regards to this, or free plans on how to make this box yourself. And we're going to come across with what exactly this box is going to be good for and what does it produce. Some of you may already know. Some of you may be looking at it like this is a big bird nest. It is not a bird's nest. But you have a chance. Go ahead and think about it for right now. I'm going to go ahead and pause it and get some better camera angles, and we're going to go into what's going to come out of this box ultimately, and how you can make it yourself. All right, so let's talk about this magic medicine maker that I have here. What it is, it's not a bird nest, even though it kind of looks like it. It's a beehive, and we got the plans for this for free online. You didn't have to pay anything for the plans. I've been putting off making this thing all winter because I thought, oh man, it's going to be so complicated, because some of the cuts look fairly complicated. But if you put your mind to it and you apply it, it's fairly simple to make. It'll catch a wild swarm is essentially what this is for. This is ultimately going to be covered with aluminum to protect it from the weather. But it catches a wild swarm of bees, and inside that are 7 of these frames. And the frames have the wires, and the wires will hold it'll be a starter strip for the bees. It'll give them a guideline of where to make their nest. And in theory, each one of the parts of the hive are going to go in between these slats. That's the goal. And the box holds 7 slats. And when they're all in, you can actually open the lid. It's kind of cool. When they're all in, you can actually open the lid. Without having any of the bees come out. It really contains the hive, and with the plans that he has, you can build 2 of these side by side, which is essentially double these, and you can hold 2 separate hives in this one area, in theory, and still collect your honey. And the coolest thing about this is you only have to do things with these like twice a year. There's just twice a year that you have to maintain this particular hive. It's very simple. This is called a European horizontal hive, and I called this thing a magic medicine maker for a reason, because all the stuff that comes out of this particular product, or out of this particular box, is medicinal. You have your honey, which everybody knows about. Now, honey has shown to kill microbes, and it's beneficial for wound healing and wound sealing. There's bee pollen. Some people know about bee pollen, which are little yellow granules that's used to as a superfood. Essentially, it can almost be used as a multivitamin. It has amino acids, and it's the purest form of pollen. It's pollen that's been put together in little balls with bee saliva, which kind of sounds gross, but the benefits of it are just amazing. You have royal jelly, which is what the larvae sit inside the hive. The larvae sit in these little pools of royal jelly, which is their food. Now, they only get royal jelly for 3 days, and then after that they start getting honey. For the normal bees, so the drones and the workers and stuff, they get royal jelly for about 3 days, and then the ones that continue to get the royal jelly are the ones that ultimately become queens, and they will leave a different kind of cell behind when they're to be made. Now, it's kind of interesting. I used to be an exterminator. We kept bees a little bit when I was young, but once we moved off the mountain, we got rid of the bees. So after that, we just focused on killing them. This is going to be kind of interesting and see how the dichotomy works. I won't be killing bees this time. I'll be working with them in order to make some really cool stuff. The plans for these are free, as I said. Now, if you don't have any extra lumber laying around, I mean, I just used, old 2x4s, and an old plywood to build this box and these frames. I made a template for each. I have enough of these left over that I can make an entire another box. These are what hold the frames in between. This is the bottom part and the top part. After I figured out how to do it, this really didn't take long. You know, you just start making the same pieces over and over and over again, and it gets fairly easy. And of course, the more I did it, the better I got, obviously. So that works with everything. You can make all of this if you go to buy the stuff for about $100. It'll cost if you go buy the lumber. If you happen to have any extra 2x4s or plywood laying around, you can use that and make it for virtually free. If you don't have any of that stuff, you do have social media, so you can get on Facebook or Parler or whatever social media, Twitter, anything, and say, hey, look, anybody in my area, I could still use, you know, some extra 2x4s if you have it, or 2x10s, or whatever, any extra lumber you have. People, for the most part, are fairly generous. You could get that kind of stuff for yourself, and make this yourself. Now, I've also found, don't think that just because you live in the city, you cannot do this. I've looked this up. There are many, many cities in the United States where it is more, you are allowed to have your own honeybees, and, you know, taking care of a hive, if you only have to deal with it twice a year, that's ideal. You know, even if you're busy, twice a year, you go out once a day, 2 times a year, to A, make sure the hive is doing well the first time and feed them if you have to, and then B, to get the honey the next year. So I'm going to put a link to Dr. Sharaskin's website down below, horizontalhive.com, hive, not hives, and he gives free plans, and he also has that stuff for sale. You could buy his full horizontal hives, the insulated ones. He has plans to make all of that stuff for free, and I like that. It's a super good price. So once you get these made and get this put together, then that's where you'll have to get your like lemongrass essential oil as a bait, and you put it inside the hive, which will make it so you can potentially catch yourself a really good swarm. They say that wild bees are the best to get because they're already used to all the stuff that's in the area, any local diseases or whatever they're fairly immune to. But you can buy queens as well online. This comes out. They'll all come out. This is supposed to sit standing up, but once it's all full, he said that this will hold ultimately about 45 pounds of honey, which is a lot of honey. So give this a thought. You know, with all the stuff that's made out of it, this is certainly worth it. Now, another one of the things that comes out of this is bee propolis. This is my favorite bee product of all time. Everything that it does, it's one of the more amazing medicinal substances that comes from bees. You also have bee stings people use to help with arthritis. We have a couple of customers that swear by it, that bee stings work for them. Bees will come in through the holes. And here's the weirdest one that I didn't know about until fairly recently, and I did some research and I was like, ooh, that's gross, but it kind of makes sense. Ground up bees themselves, they have the bee bodies are ground up and made into a tincture, and there's been some scientific proof that has some medicinal value as well. And so my very next video is going to be all about bee products and all the benefits from it, including the dead ground up bees, and we will go from there. But for right now, just know that you can make this yourself for less than $100, and you can have your own beehives. I mean, if you know how expensive honey is, you know this would be well worth an investment, because this will last a lifetime. I mean, as long as you maintain it, and you know, free honey for life it sounds like a good deal to me. But if you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the comment section below. If I forgot to leave a link, also let me know in the comment section below. I'm also going to go ahead and put a link to our Facebook page down below. You can follow us on Facebook if you're not already. And if you have any other suggestions on videos, let me know on that as well, because it certainly gives me a better idea of what people are looking to see. If you like the video, please give it a like and a share. And I really appreciate everybody who watched. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet already. And I hope everybody has a great and safe weekend. And if you make this particular hive, let me know how it went for you. I would love to see that. All right, everybody have a great weekend.